Kia ora once again and welcome to the Rebecca and Knits Knitting Podcast, episode 7, 8. I think it's episode 8 today, but let me check my notes. Yes, episode 8. Welcome. Thank you for joining me again to chat about everything that I'm knitting on. It's been a while, sorry, it's been a couple of extra weeks. I had an insanely busy Easter. Within my midwifery placement we had I was attended 6 babies' births, but there was actually 8 that birthed within the group that I'm practicing with. I was very busy and it took me a while to catch up, and I've just had heaps of stuff going on with placement, with postnatal visits and antenatal clinics, and fitting in some shifts at the hospital as well, so amongst all the family things. So it's been very busy. There was not, I probably could have found time to record, but I hadn't achieved hardly any knitting, nothing worth showing. So I'm finally back today with an update on my projects. I have 2 finished objects, I have a pile of whips and a couple of plans to share with you. So settle in and enjoy me. Join me as I talk about what I've been knitting on, and you can find me here on YouTube, Rebecca and Knits. You can also find me on Instagram under the same name, Rebecca and Knits, and on Ravelry under that name as well. So feel free to look me up if you'd like to check out anything else that I have been creating or have created in the past. I will endeavour to put show notes under this video with links to all the patterns and designers and yarns that I have been talking about. I think I forgot to do that on my last episode, so apologies for that. If there's anything that you'd like to ask about anything that I share, please feel free to leave me a comment and I will get back to you with further information. But yeah, sorry, I'm sometimes forgetful with the show notes, but I will endeavour to do that. You'll see I'm in a different spot today. I decided to film this as my knitting chair in my bedroom. This is where I do the majority of my knitting, and I thought I would join you from here today. It is a really gloomy, grey autumn rainy day here in Upper Hutt. It is, I'm looking out the window that's next to me. Yeah, weather front coming through. It's gross. Really rainy, and it's not very cold, but it is really wet. Autumn has arrived, daylight savings has changed, it now feels very dark at the time, so I do have artificial lighting today, so hopefully everything still looks alright. Let me know if there's any issues, please. To start with, today I am wearing one of the lentos that I made last year. This one is, I don't remember which month I made it in. It would be around a year ago. It would have been about March or April last year, I think, that I made this. It is the lento. And this one I knit in 2 hand-dyed yarns from Marmalade Yarn Co. This is a slub yarn, a merino slub, and then I held that with the same colourway in her silk mohair. So yeah, it's really cute. It's kind of, I can't really stand up and show you, but it's just a lento. Nothing too exciting about it. I didn't use the slub for the cuffs and the hem, so you can see there's a slight tonality there. I used the same mohair, but I used a merino cashmere nylon sock yarn that I had in stash from Knit Crate that just happened to be a very good match colour-wise. So yeah, so I really like this one. It's quite open gauge as lento is, so it's good for today when it's kind of still like 22 degrees. But it's gloomy, so you kind of want to be cozy, but you don't want to wear something too warm. Yeah, so I enjoyed this one. Haven't worn it for a while. I've got it on with my white jeans because, yeah, this kind of bluey grey looks great with white. So that's what I'm wearing. What have I finished? I have cast on and finished, since my last episode, an emotional support chicken. I shared last episode how I had plans to make 2 of these. For my best friends who are chicken lovers. They have a lot of pet chickens, and it just looked fun, and this yarn just told me to make it a chicken. So this yarn is I'm gonna forget what it's called now. It is Patons Kroy sock yarn, which is kind of like a sport weight yarn. It came in this rainbow colorway. I bought it on a D-stash. I just used pretty much one full 50 gram ball. I held it with a cone of mohair in a beigey colour, just to make it a little bit fluffier and to make it to the DK gauge that the pattern was written for. And then this dark yarn is vintage from Skeins. It is leftovers from the cardigan I made my sister. And then I just used the like the coloured parts out of the Kroy yarn to do the wattle and the beak, the cone and the wattle and the beak, and the brown to just do some like just some embroidered eyes. I couldn't be bothered going and buying like safety eyes. I thought this looked quite cute. So one chicken finished. I'm not 100% happy with how it's stuffed. It's quite soft, like I haven't done it very firmly, but it felt like it was getting too bulgy down here. So I'm not quite sure. I'm going to have a play around with that. I might try steam blocking it and see if it just fills out and like settles down a bit, because I haven't done any kind of blocking on this. Yeah, it was really fun to make. It probably took me 2 or 3 days. It looks a bit wonky, but it's actually not as wonky as it looks. It's very fun. Anyways, I've needed some emotional support after my busy Easter, so it's kind of nice to have this chicken on hand for now. I'm going to make a second one. I'll show you my yarn choices for that in a few minutes, and then give them to my friends. I'm going to see them in May, so I shall get the other one done soonish. That's my first finished object, my little wonky emotional support, rainbow emotional support chicken. And my second finished object is the Irene vest, well, Irene Slipover that I was making as a test knit for Journey Through Yarn. I don't have it anymore. I have already sent it off to my friend Helen, same one who's getting the chickens, yeah, I sent it off to her. So I will pop in some photos. I took some photos of myself wearing it, and she also sent me some photos of herself wearing it. I made size E or size 5 in this pattern, which is not my size, it is my friend's size, and so it looks very oversized on me, but I thought, oh, I'll take some photos in it anyway. I would normally make like a size 3 or a size C for myself, so this is probably 2 sizes bigger. It turned out really cute. I really like it. The fabric of the yarn is really beautiful. I used a wool possum blend that I bought on a comb from Yarn on Comb sale last year, and held that with a mohair from Skeins. Yeah, it's a wool mohair acrylic blend, I think, that one. Anyways, it turned out really beautiful and I'm really happy with it. It gets released. The finish date for the test knit is the 20th, so end of next week. And so I assume it will be released soon after that. So it's a really beautiful vest. I just don't really know how to style vests. It's not something that I have kind of ventured into in terms of my own wardrobe, so hence I didn't make this one for myself. But yeah, it was really lovely. I really enjoyed the process. The pattern's great, really straightforward. My neckline ended up a bit wider and bigger than the pattern pictures, though I did follow the pattern. And I've noticed as other people are finishing theirs, some of the other bigger sizes do have a lower, more generous neckline than the original pattern pictures as well. So maybe that's just something that kind of comes along with the bigger sizes. I don't know, I think it still looks really nice. So I didn't go in and pick up these stitches and change it. But yeah, so hopefully I'll put some pictures in of that. So that's my other finished object, which I'm really pleased to have off the needles. Yeah, so those are my 2 finished objects. And I sew, I guess, now for whips. Speaking of test knits, I cast on my next test knit, the Rivera's tee. I literally cast on and did like this much rip. And then I'll put it down again. Yeah, I will get onto it, but not quite right now. Hopefully I'll pick that one up again soon and work on that one a bit more. I've just been distracted by chickens and my Mayberry cardigan, which has been my main whip over the last little while. I've been working on this quite, well, not monogamously, because I cast on and finished a chicken. I've also got some other bits and pieces I've been working on, but I have been working on this as my primary big whip since I finished the vest, and it's coming along so good. Look at this. Look at this squishy goodness. Oh, It's so lovely. So this is the Mayberry Cardigan by Amy Loudon, and it is knit in Mix by Outlaw Yarn, which is a Polworth and silk blend, and I am holding it with a fine strand of mohair as well from one of those cones from Yarn on Cone, which is a soft pink, which is giving a bit more of a marl than I would have ideally liked, but it's quite cute anyways. I am almost finished with the body. I want to get to 20 centimeters before I do the edges, so that's 10. So I've maybe got like 2 more centimeters to go on the body, and then I will do the bottom hem, which is literally actually just continue in Fisherman's Rib but on a smaller needle size. So that's interesting. Be interesting to see how that turns out. It's obviously got a double knit button band, and the sleeves are quite big and billowy again in Fisherman's Rib full length sleeves. So it will be, I just can't wait to have it done. I'll put in a photo. I took some photos yesterday wearing it because I just wanted to see how the length was going, and it's close, and I just love it. I love it. I love it. I've done quite a lot of modifying with this pattern because I'm knitting it on a completely different gauge than what it's written for. I think I'm getting 14 or 15 stitches and it's written for 18 or 19, something like that. So my gauge is quite a lot bigger. So I cast on for size 3. So looking at the measurements and the recommended gauge, I should be making size 5 for myself. But because my gauge was bigger, I cast on a size 3. And then I got most of halfway through the yoke and I'm like, it's already nearly big enough. If I knit the entire yoke recommendation, it's going to be way oversized, way oversized. So I then actually, and I was quite close to the numbers of size 1, so I blocked it and it grew in width and a little bit of length, and so I'm like, okay, so what I just did was did about 4 or 5 more rows and increased out to the numbers of size 1. So I cast on for size 3, but stopped increasing at the numbers of size 1, and then I was already deep enough for the yoke, so then I split for sleeves, split front and back, and now I'm just knitting in the round. Yeah, so that's kind of random, but it's working out. Lovely thing with top down garments is trying them on as you go, and with a cardigan it's so easy. I don't even have to worry about putting it on a stitch holder or anything like that. I can just sling it on and see how it's going. So I'm really happy with it. I really enjoy knitting this Fisherman's Rib. I know some people find it a real drag, but actually I find this more enjoyable than, say, knitting stockinettes flat and you've got a knit row and then a purl row and then a knit row and a purl row. Every row is the same. It's just purl 1, knit in the stitch below, purl 1, knit in the stitch below, and it becomes very rhythmic. And it is, I guess, like knitting rib all over, but I don't know, it's so squishy. And because the gauge is large, you feel like you make progress relatively fast, even though it kind of takes 2 rows to create one knit V. Like each V is almost a centimetre big, so it actually seems like it's growing quite quick. So yeah, I'm really loving this. The only other modification I have made so far is that I haven't been making buttonholes. The buttonholes in the pattern are made over 3 rows, and this is all double knit. The buttons I have, which I do have already purchased for this, are beautiful, and they're quite small. And I actually realised, I was like, oh, if I make these buttonholes that are in the pattern, I feel like my buttons are just going to fall out. And I also quite like how this cardigan is looking open. I don't often actually button cardigans. I generally wear them open. So I'm undecided at this point whether I will even make buttonholes at all. I may just sew the buttons on as faux buttons and just wear it open. But because my gauge is bigger, I also realised that actually I can just stretch a hole in this button band and stick do an afterthought buttonhole. Depending on how many buttons I want and where I want them, or if I want them. So that's what I'm going to do with this. We will see. I made one boot. I had to change my yarn, and I unfortunately did it right on the edge here. Did not think that through. So I'm going to have to be very careful about weaving those ends in to make this edge still look nice. I'm really bummed. I kind of wished I had changed like on the inside of the button band instead, but hopefully I'll be able to just thread it through and make it look okay in the end. But yeah, I am loving this. I've got a really busy weekend. I'm working a shift at the hospital this afternoon and tomorrow afternoon. Yeah, so it's not going to get a lot of knitting time this weekend, I don't think. From what I understand, the postnatal ward at the hospital is heaving, so they will not be quiet shifts, they will be busy shifts. So yeah, I'm not too sure when I will get the body finished. I would hope maybe Sunday, maybe I'll be able to finish the body by the end of this weekend, and then I can start working on the sleeves, because I just want to wear it. It's just so beautiful. I keep getting my hair knitted into it. Sorry, pulling out hairs. I don't have any pets. There's no animal fur around this place, but my own hair ends up being woven into my knitting very frequently. So that is my main whip at the moment, the Mayberry. It is going really, really well. I'm loving it. And this was part of my Make 12 that I did at the beginning of the year. This was top of my list to make, and so I'm really happy to be making my way through it. Slowly but surely. Definitely taking a lot longer to knit than any of my lentos did. But I'm just not getting a lot of knitting time, and it takes nearly 10 minutes per row because it's it's full fisherman's rib, so it's just a longer term project, and I'm fine with that. I'm embracing the slower knits this year. At least I'm telling myself that. Even if I am getting frustrated and casting on all the small things in between, that kind of gives you that satisfaction of the finished project. I'm gonna look into a microphone, I think, for this. I feel like these earpods are not really doing a great job of the sound. So sorry if the sound is low. I'm going to look into some other options, but it's tricky. Yeah, what's next in terms of whips? I have some socks for the month. I have not made the second sock of my Marl Mirage socks yet. It'll be really quick. I should just get on and do it. But because it's a fully ribbed sock, I kind of just not that motivated to knit on it. So I cast on a stockinette sock again because I needed some just handbag knitting, some stockinette in the round small project. So I cast on my April socks. This is the yarn that I mentioned I was going to use. This is Plush Sock by Mamawooling. Isn't that stunning? Excuse my hole here. There's always a hole when I do an afterthought heel that I sew up when I do my ends. So this is sock number 1. This colorway is called Tropical Pop. And I don't know what the colorway of this is, but it was a mini that came with the sock set, also from Mamawooling. But I thought it toned in really nicely, just to give a little bit of a difference there. So yeah, these are my April socks. You can see there's so many little pops of beautiful colours in this kind of peachy pink. Love it. So I've got one sock done apart from all the ends, and I am maybe halfway through the length of the second one. I did 10 rows of 1x1 rib, holding knitting elastic along with it so that I get a better stretchy rib. 10 rows of rib, and then I'll allocate 15 rows for the leg before putting in the heel, and then I do 55 rows for the foot, and then start my wedge toe. That's my little recipe that seems to be working well for me at the moment. So I knit 70 rows. I basically do 10 rows of rib, and then I knit 70 rows, and then I do my toe, and then I'll come in and put the afterthought heel in. I was doing a slightly shorter leg, like only 10 and 10, or 20 rows of rib, or 15 and 5, but I find they're a little bit full downy. They don't stay up over my ankle that great unless I have, so I will have 25 rows here. Yeah, sometimes 25 to 30 rows in the leg seems to stay up. If it goes much shorter than that, I find they slip off my heel when I wear them in my shoes, because I do wear all my socks in my shoes. Those Marl Mirage ones probably not, because they're really thick, though I might wear them in my little ankle boots for winter. That would be cute. I should really finish the other one of those. I should get that out. When I have finished this one, which is not that far away, this is kind of like my handbag on the go knitting. when I have finished this one, I will do the Mirage one again before I cast on another stockinette pair. I just love fun yarns and stockinette socks. Like, it's just such an easy fun. Take it wherever you go, have it on hand. Like yesterday, my kids' school had an emergency drill, and so all the parents had to queue up and sign their children out on paper and then pick them up from their class. Rather than just picking them up at the gate at 3 o'clock, we had to be there early and do this whole process because they were practicing if we have a civil defence emergency like a flood or a earthquake or something like that, or the school has to go into a lockdown and you have to actually pick your children up and sign them out to a designated caregiver. So I was just standing there in the line waiting to sign my kids out, knitting on my sock, because I could just shove it in my handbag, and I just have part of the skein wound off. I find if I have a whole 100-gram skein, it's too big to fit in my little like crossbody bag. It's quite bulky, takes up all the space, but if I just have like between 20 and 50 grams wound off, I can have, and that's more than enough. Like, these socks only end up weighing about 30 grams, so just having some with me is good in a small amount. So that's my socks for the month. Nearly there on those. My other whip, I shared my swatch with you last episode of my Lauder. So I got all inspired and excited when it first came out, and I did work on it for a little bit. And then I decided, look, I can't have the Mayberry and the Lauder on the go at the same time. It's just too much intense knitting. Like, none of it's just mindless. They're both patterns that, well, I guess the Mayberry is pretty mindless now, but it wasn't when I was doing the yoke and all the increases and following the chart. But it's not like I don't have to think about it. I still have to make sure I'm putting I have to watch what I'm doing, basically, because I have to make sure that I'm putting my needle into that stitch below to make the fisherman's rib. And obviously the Lauder is fully cabled, so I decided that I'd do one at a time in terms of those projects. But I did get it cast on, and I finished the first section of the back panel. So let's see if this will focus for us. Look at that. It's blowing out a bit, sorry, because the lighting is weird. I'm not sure how great you can see those cables, but it is lush. I love it. This is obviously unblocked, and it will all plump up and block out more beautifully. Maybe it's actually better back here. I think it's actually better back here, isn't it? So there you go. That's the beginning. You can see this beautiful cable right down the raglan, and then all the way through the center there. Just alternates the two, the tiny little cable and then the bigger cable. For this, I'm using 2 cones of yarn that I showed you last episode from Yarn on Cone. I have this one here, which is the Tweedy one, which is alpaca and merino and nylon. And then this one here, which is just a solid pink. These are both single ply yarns. And they look relatively different when you hold them like that, but when you see them in the fabric, it's really seamless. It doesn't look marled at all. And this one is alpaca, merino, nylon, and cashmere. So they are it's knitting out really beautifully. I really enjoyed this. It was pretty easy. It's really easy in the terms of how you cable. The chart is easy to follow. You don't need a cable needle. You can do it all without a cable needle because it's only ever crossing 2 stitches back or forth. Yeah, so it's actually really good. It's really good. I love it. I am excited to get back to knitting this. I am very, very excited to own and wear this garment once it is done. The sizing looks pretty good. I hit gauge pretty well. Like, if you think about that being the back panel, that seems pretty good. I am using 4mm needles, even though the pattern calls for 3.25. I got gauge on 4s, so go figure. I don't know how that works. Rebecca must be a really loose knitter when it comes to cabling to get the same gauge on a 3.25 that I get on a 4. Anyways, I am really excited with that. There's not a lot to show, but there is some to show, and I will get back to that once the Mayberry is done. So although I'm nearly finished the body, those sleeves are big billowy sleeves, so I think they're going to take a while. Oh, I should update you on my yarn for that as well. I am on ball 3 with this. So if you remember, I have 7 balls, which was not going to be enough for size 5. Should have been enough for size 3, and I'm hoping now that I'm actually converting into making size 1, I will have some leftovers. So this is ball 3. I am probably halfway through these 100-gram balls. So I'm going to finish the body with this ball. I have decided that's as long as I'm going to make it. So I'm going to try and get to that 5, like 20 centimeters, and then see what's left. And hopefully I will just continue to do the body until I finish this ball. And then I'm hoping I will get away with 1 ball each for the sleeves, which might be a bit optimistic because they're quite big sleeves. But actually I quite like this sort of like bracelet length sleeve. I don't actually need it to be fully long, because especially with midwifery and being a mum, actually having sleeves that are really long are quite annoying and they get in the way. So and if I've got a billowy sleeve with a cinched in cuff like the Mayberry is going to have, I actually quite like it being kind of bracelet length. So I may stop them really. I may just do however long I can get out of 1 ball, because I'd love to have enough left over, like at least 1.5 balls to be able to make a camisole to wear with it. So that gives me like 1.25 balls per sleeve. So unless I need a bit more for the length, in which case I'd only have 1 ball per sleeve and 1.5, and like another half a ball for the length. We'll see, but we're going to try and make it. We will make it. We will have enough. It's just whether or not I have enough for a cami as well. But I am hoping. I am hopeful. I'm a bit scattered. Sorry. All over the show, jumping between the projects. What else have I got in terms of whips? I haven't started the other chicken yet, but I will share the yarn that I have for that. But I have one other little whip. My brother-in-law, when he was here last time, we were talking about knit gifts, and I was telling my sister that if it's her birthday in May, and I made her a sweater for her birthday last year, and if she wanted another one, just let me know what she would like. And my brother-in-law piped up and said, hey, I'd like a pair of gloves. Can you make me black gloves? I'm like, oh, okay. I've never actually knit gloves with full fingers before. So I finished the chicken and decided that I would cast these on before I cast on the second chicken. So I have a tiny little cuff in. Oh, you're not going to be able to see it at all because it's just 100% black. 100 little cuff of rib, 1x1 rib. I am using a pattern called something like the world's easiest mitts or gloves or something like that. I'll put it in the show notes. I can put a picture up of the pattern. I cannot remember who it's by, just one I found on Ravelry for just a couple of dollars. I am making the size large/extra large because these are for a guy, but he does not have particularly big hands. I measured my hand against his when he mentioned it, and his fingers only came up about this far past mine, and his palm was just a little bit bigger. But I have really small hands and wrists. So anyway, I'm making the size large/extra large, and on the recommended needles, which are 2.75, and this is DK weight yarn. So I have a cuff. I'm at the length that it says to make the cuff. I think I'm going to make it just a tiny bit longer. It says to do 24 rows. I think I'm going to go to 30 rows just so that you've got a nice generous cuff. And then I think you go into thumb gusset increases. Yeah, so that's a start. This yarn is the wool that I brought for my warp and weft, but I have a gigantic cone of this. It's a possum and wool blend from Wool Yarns cone sale, and I have a gigantic cone of it, and so I have more than enough to use it for gloves as well. So he asked for black, and possum and wool is lovely for gloves, be nice and warm. And so yeah, so I'm kind of working on those on the in-between, just because I said that I'd make them, so I feel like I should make them before the winter is over, because otherwise he's not going to get any use out of them if I don't make them in the right season. So anyways, I'm working on that, and that'll be kind of fun. I think it's going to be quite fiddly because I'm going to have to magic loop fingers. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I might end up I wonder if I have the right converters. I do have some mini cables for my Chaigu interchangeables, you know, the really tiny thin ones, and so they might actually be better at like not getting a ladder when working on a tiny circumference. But these are just the regular, but I think I might have the little adapters that change this needle tip to fitting onto the mini cable. So I'll have to have a look, or maybe I will get some of those if I don't have them, so that I can actually use the mini cable for the fingers, just so it's not quite so, you know, because that's going to be quite a big turn on a tiny finger circumference. Anyway, there's a challenge, working on that. He wouldn't care if I didn't make them for him, but it's kind of like, oh, that's a cool challenge. I haven't made those before, let's give it a go. And if he thinks he'll get use out of it, and I don't get that many people actually requesting knit stuff from me, especially not guys, so I'll give it a go. That's a little whip on side, and that's basically all my whips. Let's check my notes. My gloves, my socks, my Lauder, my Mayberry. Yeah, I'm trying not to have as many things on the go. I do have my blanket, obviously, my, what's it called? Sweetshop Blanket with my hopper advent. I have literally put 1.5 squares on that since I last recorded, because I picked up the chicken. And that kind of took the place of my blanket from just my squishy garter stitch. Do a little bit here and there knitting, so I didn't get any further on that. And haven't touched that shawl that I'm making at all. And I haven't knit the other mirage sock. So there's still a few other little things in the background there. I do want to get back to the blanket. I used the half that I have made as a lap blanket the other day when I was just knitting on the couch, and it was lovely. And I would really like the other half to be made, but I'm going to make the other chicken because I am seeing my friends next month, and I would like to gift them to them then in person so I can actually see their reactions, because they don't live in the same town as me. So I'm going to make the other chicken first, and then I will get back to the blanket, because I also have plans for a second Sweetshop Blanket, which I will share with you as well. Have I shared about that in the past? I don't know, but I'm going to share it again today, so sorry if that's a double up. But first I'll show you my yarns. I showed you these sort of already. Where did I put them? Oh, over this side for the chicken. So I decided, now that I've made one, it kind of helped me make my mind up on what I'm going to use for the second chicken. So I'm going to use this yarn, which is called Cromwell. The colourway is Cromwell. This is Roving from Skeins. It's a single ply 100% wool. So I'm going to use that colour teamed with this cone, which is actually a linen yarn, but it's this pinky yellowy blend, and I think that will marl with this really nicely to make a kind of pinky blushy toned chicken for my friend. So the rainbow one's for her husband, and then I think I'll use this fluffy like brush, it's a brushed wool, but just a scrap, for the stripes. So yeah. And then I have another ball of this Patons Kroy, and I potentially will just pull out some more yellow and red bits to use for the waddling cone and beak. I'll see how it's looking. So yeah, this one where the brown stripes are, I use this beigey brushed fluffy colour, and then everywhere else, so it won't be so stripy, but it will be marled all over. Combination of these two, so that'll be cool. So that's kind of next up. I'm going to try and do one glove, I think, and then a chicken, and then a glove, and then back to the blanket. Though, the gloves are not going to be mindless, because there's going to be gusset increases and fingers and all of that. So, yeah, I don't think that will be quite so simple, so that I might be able to get back to the blanket as well a bit sooner than I thought. One other plan that I have is the midwife that I'm working with currently. I was wearing this sweater the other day when I was with her, and she really loved it. She complimented it. This is just a store-bought sweater, but it's kind of in this like half fisherman's rib / brioche, like 2-colour brioche kind of look, and these beautiful teal tones, fully cabled. It's just a cotton sweater. It's nothing, like, it's not hand knit or anything, but she really liked it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is good. This is good information, because I would like to make her something to say thank you for having me as her student for the 14 weeks I've been with her. I'm with her till mid-May, end of May, so I've got a little bit of time. So what I decided that I would like to make for her is, I was like, okay, I know I have teal yarns in my stash, I can go with that. And by watching what she wears a lot of teal colours, so that's it. So I was like, okay, teal's a go. I was originally thinking of making her some socks because she does hike, and so I thought I could make her some possum blend like hiking socks, which I may still do if I have heaps of time. Like they could be my May socks potentially, so that might still happen. But what I'm also going to make is a beanie, a hat. A new hat just got released by Vert and Rose. It's called the Aniela hat, and Emily from High Fiber Knits Testknit, and I saw it on her podcast, and when it got released I was like, oh, I love this. It's 2-color brioche, so it's perfect to kind of give me that kind of effect. It's the same as the sweater, and yeah, it's really cute, and it's written for a merino one strand and the other strand to be like a boucle. I don't have any boucle, but I do have some mohair, so I'm going to do like a fluffy smooth combo. So I pulled these out of my stash. This is Malabrigo Rios, so it's a DK weight pattern. This is technically worsted weight, but I'm sure it'll work out okay. So I can't remember what this colorway is. I have since lost the tags, but this is kind of like the deep teal, so it'll be one color. And then I have this combo here, which is a sport weight high twist. It's a hand dyed, but I've had it from a D-stash farm ages ago. I used it actually in this. It's this contrast color here. So I had some leftovers from that. So I'm going to use that teamed with this Skeins mohair as my fluffy second color. So toned together. Can you see it? Where's the sweater? Oh, this is going to be hard to hold it all, but it's so perfect. Like just from random leftovers and stash. Yes. Can you see it now? It's going to be so cool. I'm going to really enjoy making it. I love making gifts, but I love it even more if I'm making something that's actually inspiring and exciting. So yeah. So we're going to get this, because when I wore this, she actually complimented the rib. She's like, oh, that rib looks so cool. So 2-color brioche, which I've actually never done before, but I feel like now that I've done Fisherman's Rib, I have a pretty good idea of how it's going to work. I've watched a few tutorials, obviously haven't cast on yet, but I think supposedly brioche is easier to learn in 2 colors anyway, so yay for that. I'm excited to knit that up, so that should be done hopefully in the next couple of weeks, so that I have that ready to go for the end of my placement with her. Yeah, that's a really cool one. So that's a plan coming up. And do I have any other plans? A second chicken, the hat for Deborah, and so the other sweet shop that I was mentioning. Have I talked about this before? I can't remember if I have, or whether I just considered talking about it but then didn't actually throw it in. I'm not sure, but I do have this plan to make a second Sweetshop Blanket with mini skeins. So if you're like me and you're all over social media, like knitting social media, you will have been seeing that all the hand-dyed advents are being advertised for next year. If you've watched my previous episodes from the beginning of the year, you will know that I did purchase hand-dyed advents the last few years, and I also did a scrappy swappy advent, a couple of those this year as well. And what I have come to decide is that I totally understand why hand-dyed advents are the price point that they are. I think they are worth the price that I charged because of how much work goes into making them. But I just don't need to spend $300 on some mini skeins that then I don't know how to use. I love mini skeins. I love opening the advents, but I actually found I got as much joy from opening a scrappy swap mini skeins from another knitter that I had swapped with than as I did get the hand-dyed ones. And even if it's completely random and not curated colorway at all, I loved it just as much. so it's just that little joy opening every day. That's a surprise, is what's fun. It's not actually necessarily about the colorways or who dyed them up or how cohesive they are for my enjoyment factor. So I have decided not to buy a hand-dyed advent this year. Instead, what I'm deciding to do is I will probably still do a scrappy swap. I had a lovely viewer on one of my earlier episodes volunteer to swap with me, which is really exciting. I'm really hoping that will come off. Or maybe that Rebecca Kroy will run her swap again, and so I can sign up for that too. That was really fun. But what I am also going to do is make my own advent. So throughout the year, I've mentioned before that I signed up for a mini skein subscription from Dreamfire Yarns, and they have very kindly agreed to send me primarily pink mini skeins from now on, because I have decided to collect pink mini skeins to make a pink Sweetshop Blanket as my advent project again. And I'm going to just curate my own random selection of pink mini skeins and package them all up blindly, so I can just pick one at random each day and make my square like I did this year, because I actually thoroughly enjoyed that. It was great, mindless enough, and you get something cool out of it. So these are the mini skeins I received this month from Dreamfire. I'll share them with you quickly, and then I'll show you what I've collected so far for my blanket. So I got these. Oh, these ones this month. So this one is kind of like it's called, what color? They call it caramel latte, but it is kind of pinky. Then this beautiful natural. These are real tonal. They're just beautiful. And then this grey and orange stripy one. It just has all these cute stitch markers with them as well. I mean, honestly, this is the best value. Look at this. I love this little mug with the pink heart. Oh, this one's like a little gingerbread man. That's the best value yarn subscription, $25, and you get minimum 100 grams of yarn in mini skeins, plus all these cute little extras. This one has a little, what is it? It's a little bee, little buzzy bee. And then this extra special one, this one has like a Celtic kind of stitch marker there. That's cool. These ones are all merino. What does it say? It just says merino 4-ply, 25 grams. So these two are 25 grams. This one is 20 grams. So maybe it's not more than 100 grams. It's been different. Sometimes I have had more in volume than others. But this one is 100% silk, which is beautiful. Oh, it's so drapey. Look at this. Like, it's 100% silk. It's so drapey as heck. This is 20 grams, and this is caramel latte. So this is technically the same colorway as this. So I could hold them together for something. Or use them together for something. I was thinking maybe of making like a hair scrunchie with this. I'm like a silk hair scrunchie. That would be lovely, because what else am I going to do with 20 grams of silk? I'm not sure, but I hadn't actually clicked today with the same colorway, so maybe I could team them up into be something. But what would you use 40 grams of beautiful merino and silk for? I mean, this one is gorgeous with it. Like, they are gorgeous together. And then you've got 50, 70 grams. What can I do with that, guys? Any ideas? Any ideas? Otherwise, it might be hair scrunchies, which that would be a really cute hair scrunchie. I haven't made hair scrunchies before, but there's some really cute free patterns out there for hair scrunchies, and 100% silk would be beautiful for that. So, maybe. Haven't quite decided. I've just been gifted some beautiful things. Well, I guess not gifted, because I do buy them, but it's so fun. Anyways, so I'm going to get primarily pink in the future, which is exciting. And I'm going to team it up with, I have, oh sorry, I'm dropping everything. So I have this yarn, which is going to be my main colour for the Sweetshop Blanket. I don't know if you can tell, but it has a stellina sparkle in it, a silver stellina. And this is 80% merino wool and 10% cashmere and 10% stellina. It's a DK weight, and I got this from Knit Crate when they were still in operation. And I have 5 full skeins plus a partial skein, most of a skein of this, and I just can't see myself making a sparkle yarn into a garment. I've had it for a couple, 2 or 3 years now, and I think it has inspired me to knit it into a garment because of the stellina, which is really pretty but not very garmenty. So this is going to be my main colour of my Sweetshop Blanket, and a soft grey goes with everything. And so then I just have a whole lot of pink minis, which I have been collecting just randomly from my stash, what I already owned, and then obviously this subscription that I have is going to contribute too. So I don't know, just a bowl of pink joy. This is a beautiful yarn bowl made by my friend Mike, Walker's Wood Turning. If you want to look up, he makes beautiful turned items out of native timbers. But yeah, I have a whole pile of different ones. This is a yarn therapy. This is some of the one I'm using for my Lauder. I just wound off a little mini skein. This one came from one of my yarn swaps from last year. These 3 beautiful tonal ones from Dreamfire. Don't know who this is by. This was from a yarn swap as well. What did I drop? Go. Some really bright pinks, some deeper pink, some like fluoro pinks. These 2 look almost exactly the same colour, but one is a single ply and one is applied yarn. They're blowing out a bit. They're not quite that fluoro in real life. Then I have some little nuggets of like leftovers. Got this one from a Musselburgh hat I made. This is a Polworth yarn, I think. I have this one that's got this little sparkle in it. This is leftover from a pair of socks. Another couple of pinky toned mini balls. This, which is leftover from one of my original first lento. This is from last month's socks. This I also used from a lento. This is a single ply lace weight from Madeline Tosh, which I would hold, I guess, quad, because it's a DK weight pattern. So all of these are fingering weight basically, but I will just hold them double. Yeah, so I'm kind of, to make the whole Sweetshop Blanket you need 50 squares, and so I'm kind of hoping to get 50 different colours, but also there's enough in a lot of these to make 2. You can make 2 squares out of one 20 gram mini skein. This one's only more like 10 grams. These little balls are 10 grams, so these would make 1, but some of these big ones, this would make 2. This is another Dreamfire. This is their logo, by the way, Dreamfire. Artesian yarns, made in the South Island, New Zealand. Beautiful. They have lovely stuff. They really do. This one says, one of a Clayton merino 4-ply fingering, one of a kind, hand wash in water, have fun to have in your stash. Isn't that cool? Love it. Anyways, so yeah, so you can see they all kind of go well with this like soft grey, and so that is a plan. So I will eventually, so I'm just going to collect as many as I can of these pink ones. I will also have a look through my stash. Like some of these, I used that nitty noddy that I brought to skein up, like these ones, which are from cones in my stash, just to like, so I'll go through kind of my own scraps and leftovers and things that I use in projects this year, and actually use some of those as well. So I don't need to go out and purchase more pink yarn particularly, but I'm kind of on the lookout, and hopefully my mini skein from Dreamfire, that rest of that subscription will contain some pink ones as well. I haven't, like, obviously most of these are quite solid. Some of them are a little bit variegated, like this one, or tweedy or tonal. I don't think I want like really wildly variegated colours. I would like it to be, because there are so many different tones of pink. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna keep it like speckles and solids and tonals, and like maybe lightly variegated. It's like that sock yarn one. This one I would call a variegated yarn, but it's quite tonally variegated. Like, it's not got wildly different tones in it. Yeah, so that's a fun plan. I'm gonna look forward to putting that together and making that over the Christmas period this coming year. So I think that's about all I have to talk about. We're already at 50 minutes. My children didn't interrupt once because they're all at school. Last day of the first term today, so I have to settle out to some appointments soon. So I thought I'd just quickly squeeze this in while they're out and before I start my midwifery day. But yeah, so despite having a really busy time, I've still managed to get a fair bit of knitting in. There was about 4 or 5 days there where I didn't pick up my needles at all, because I literally only came home to sleep and then went back to another birth or another appointment, or it was wild. But I made it through that. And that just happens with midwifery. Babies turn up when they want to turn up, and sometimes you get a massive cluster and then you have a quiet batch. So yeah, it's a little bit more chill, but I'm kind of behind on hours with this placement, so I'm now picking up a pile of like hospital shifts to kind of just tick up some more hours. So I've done one of those today, and tomorrow I've got 3 next week. The kids are off school for the next 2 weeks on term break, and so it's a bit of a juggle trying to work out where they're going to go while I'm on placement and my husband's at work. He's also got to travel for work for 3 days in a couple of weeks, so it's all going to be a bit random. So I don't know quite when I will be joining you again, but I shall be knitting away whenever I get the chance. And yeah, I will hopefully be back in the not too distant future, sometime between 2 and 4 weeks from now, when I have enough content to share again. And yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing with you again then. Stay safe, stay warm / cool, depending on where you're watching from, and I will catch up with you again hopefully in a couple of weeks, if not in a few more weeks. That's really, sorry, I'm rambling now, I'm talking about nothing. I will see you soon. Take care, everybody. Happy knitting.